You know what? We'll just go through the process with it. You know, that's the good thing about that kind of designation is, you know, we have options. If we get to that point where we can expedite them or use them, then we'll try to do that. But, you know, it's just a matter of time right now.
Doesn't need surgery though for now?
Right now, it's just kind of a, you know, we're going through the process right now to evaluate it, and we know it's going to be a little while here, so we'll take it as it goes.
Are you happy with the internal options that you might have there? You've got some guys that have done it in the past, some experience there.
As far as returning?
Yeah.
Okay. Agnew does quite a bit for us, so I wasn't really sure what position we were talking about there. But, you know, look, we got, you know, some guys on this team that definitely can fill that role and are going to have to and step up, and we're going to have to do the best we can to make sure it's as productive as possible. He's, you know, obviously a very valuable player to our team, really can do a great job of, you know, turning field position, does a great job when he's out there at gunner, plays defense. So, you know, pretty multiple, versatile player for us. So, you know, but that's, you know, it's the nature of the game. We've got guys who are going to have to step up and kind of fill those roles, whether it's one person or multiple guys. You know, we'll just try to put the best guy out there that we can.
I did want to ask specifically about his defense role. He has led you, I think, in snaps from the nickel this year. You got a lot of different guys that have played there. What does it take to have versatility at that position to be able to throw so many different guys there for matchups?
Yeah, the nickel position is pretty interesting. You know, it just depends on the receivers that offenses will put in that slot position. Could be a multiple of guys. You know, it could be one guy that they specifically just line up there all the time. But a lot of times it's formationing. There's different communication that needs to go on. I would say similar to kind of linebackers that tie together front and back end secondary communication. The nickel position has a lot of communication between the corners and then back into the linebackers in the front. So a guy that can communicate really well is important in that situation also. But it changes week by week depending on the game plan. You know, what we need that guy to do based on who he's covering or what he has to do in the run game, or maybe it's a pressure situation, whatever you know, case that may be. But those guys are pretty multiple players for us.
What do you make of the possible quarterback change in Miami with Osweiler? There's not a guy that you've seen in that role there. How does that affect preparation for you?
Yeah, definitely, you know, will be something that we're going to have to try to address both guys as we go through the course of the week. Not really knowing the full injury situation down there. We'll kind of read the reports as you guys do also. But I would say with Brock, he's a very competitive guy. He's a big, long, tall guy. I've faced him a couple times before in the past, and someone that's had some success against, you know, me in the past individually. But, you know, very competitive guy. I think a guy that's very familiar with the system down there is obviously a great comfort level between him and Coach Gase. And, you know, operating at home down there in Miami, it's a totally different team, you know, when they have that advantage and they can communicate and they can go fast and they can go tempo. And I think that's one of the things that makes, you know, Gase feel so comfortable with him down there is, you know, his familiarity with the offense.
Is this one of those weeks where you're truly preparing for two guys?
Yeah, as of Monday right now, yes, absolutely, yep.
I guess, how much does that split your game plan? Are there skill sets that different that you have to scheme things a little differently for two different alternatives?
You know what? You try to take a look at both players individually. There's a scheme that's behind all of it. You know, that's probably the first and foremost thing that we'll attack right now, try to dive into. You know, Adam does a great job of just, you know, week in, week out of changing up the game plan and making sure that he gets the ball into the playmakers' hands, which they've got a lot of them on the offensive side of the ball. And the quarterback is the guy that's got to do that. So each quarterback is a little bit different, though, you know, as far as the two players athletically and both kind of in the system and what they can do as far as that's concerned, but both very talented, very good players for us to try to prepare for.
There's been almost 700 points scored in the NFL this weekend. Whether it's rule changes or, you know, players coming in or the schemes, I mean, can you pinpoint why it's so much tougher to play defense?
Yeah, just glad we weren't part of any of that this weekend. I think in general, just, you know, the offenses are operating at a really high level. You know, it's something that's very difficult defensively to have to deal with. There's a lot of factors that are involved in there, I think, but can't really dial it down into one. You know, I think you look at it, and as you watch the course of the weekend go through, there's you know, there's either early surges in points or late surges in points, which could be, you know, indicator of something. But just really good players out there. You know, I mean, a lot of good scheme, a lot of good offensive players, and you know, obviously taking advantage of all those opportunities. So definitely a problem defensively right now. Absolutely.
They have a lot of good players, obviously Gore and Drake and Stills and Wilson. But where's Jakeem Grant fit into there, especially as a return man? Looks to be really explosive.
Sure, really dynamic, really explosive player, a guy that can change field position pretty quick. He'll be out there offensively too, where they just want to get the ball out into his hands, whether it's the quick screens out on the edge or some sort of catch and run play, where he can turn that into a return type of space play for him, where he's dynamic. So very difficult to tackle. I mean, just a guy that's really explosive from that standpoint, and they're doing a good job of trying to find ways to get him the ball however they can.
Just to follow up to that too, just watching the game yesterday, a lot of run after catch with those guys. Just obviously tackling is important every week, but against guys that are so dynamic after the catch, how important is that this week?
It's critical. I mean, I think you can see with Wilson. I mean, didn't really take very much. He catches the ball, and then the next thing you know, he breaks a couple of tackles, and they're just into the secondary, and then it's points. So tackling is critical for us as the season goes on. Especially when you play dynamic players like this with the ball in their hand. Which it may not be deep routes all the time. It may be those short, quicker throws that then you got to come up and tackle. Angles of pursuit are important. Speed of the game is important at that time. You got to really understand how fast these guys are. And I would say with a team that we're not overly familiar with, the speed of those players, we're going to have to do a good job early on of making sure that we're doing we're taking the right pursuit angles so that we don't either over pursue or under pursue, where you see some of those angles that have come up in the game so far where guys just are almost there but not quite there enough to get them down.
Coach, what was it about the Dolphins and those AFC East teams you played twice here? They gave you the most trouble of anybody. Was there something, and regardless of the weather, whatever?
Yeah, you know what? They've always always had battles with this team. Definitely play tough. They play real tough at home. This is a grueling team to play at home. I mean, they're obviously they do a great job down there. They use the crowd noise to their advantage. They can go faster on offense. The defense gets after the quarterback more down there from the other side of the ball. So special teams is dynamic. They're an aggressive special teams unit. Darren Rizzi does a good job with the punt rushes and block kicks and all the different components that he adds to it special teams wise. So I would say it's just a real tough environment for us to go down there and play, and it'd be a big challenge for us. They're obviously one of the better teams in the league at home right now, undefeated at home and playing at a high level. So it'll be a big challenge. It's just, it's one of those trips where you really got to dial in and we got to get everybody working in the same direction on the same page, and we got to get off to a fast start the best we can.
We know how important the turnover battle is every week. They're leading the NFL in interceptions. I think they got 4 different guys with multiple. When we talked about Green Bay, they had their schematic elements that made it difficult. What is it about this defense that allows them to turn it over so frequently?
I think they're doing a good job of just, obviously their front with some of the rush and the pressure that they're getting on the quarterback up there. They have a very attacking style on defense that in a lot of cases some of the passing situations, the balls are put up into some tight coverage windows, and they're doing a good job of making plays in the back end. Howard and Jones, those guys are just doing a good job of attacking the ball. They have good ball skill players in the back end, so some of those 50-50 balls that go up, they're coming down with them in those situations, very aggressive from that standpoint. But, Coach Burke does a good job of just preparing those guys, week in, week out. I think they're really trying to get the rush and the coverage marriage up, which I've talked about before from that aspect of it, but doing a good job of just turning it over and attacking the ball all the time.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
What, if anything, do you guys need to do to simulate the heat down there? I don't know if that's an issue.
Yeah, it will be hot. Definitely going down there at this time of the year, you're not really sure, but I think it's we plan for the heat at that point. I think the hardest thing for us will be the tempo. We're not really being able to predict how fast it's going to go when we get down there. So we're just going to have to do a good job here, working through practice at a high pace and high tempo, and making sure that we're in great condition when we go down there. That'll be a big part of it. And I think you can see as the games go on down there, the teams in the end, conditioning will be a big part of the game. They're fortunate, they have that nice shaded sideline down there for their home team. So we're going to be out in the heat for the entire game. We're going to have to deal with that as we go through. But it'll be part of practice this week is just getting ready to go from the mentality of, we're going to have to play 60 minutes against a really tough football team and down in their environment. And, that'll be a big part of it from a preparation standpoint. Okay.
Are you saying that there's been gamesmanship in the AFC East?
Going to avoid that altogether.